Just trust me.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Well, Treehouse Cafe is where it's at this morning, I suppose. Yes, it is very bright. That's why I'm coming over here, so that you don't have to look into the sun. Instead, we'll make them look into the sun, because they have shades or something. Anyway. Hi there, cutie pie. Look at you with your camera.
Yep.
Good job. So, from here, I'm not seeing a whole lot of breakfast joints that are open yet. So I think let's get some coffee and maybe a baked good or something, and then we'll start just driving south, and we'll figure things out as we go. Sound good? So we're driving along the shore of Lake Tahoe right now, headed down south to South Tahoe. With any luck, we'll be able to find some breakfast down there. That's my goal. Wow, look at that out there. Holy cow. Isn't that gorgeous? Tahoe snow. I'm so happy all the tech is working right now. Now, if you've ever been to Lake Tahoe, you might know that there is exactly one island in all of Lake Tahoe. The name of that island is Finette Island, and it rests in a little bay called Emerald Bay that you'll see if you're driving down the shore. Now, I took a photo of Finette Island while I was there, and you'll see it in a few minutes. And when I looked at that photo later, I happened to notice that it looked like it had a little castle on it. And so that made me curious, of course. And so I decided to dig a little deeper and see what I could learn about that castle. Well, it turns out that this castle out there on this island has an absolutely fascinating backstory that starts with one of the first year-round residents at Lake Tahoe, Captain Dick "Them's My Toes" Barter. Captain Barter was a retired sea captain from England who came to Lake Tahoe in 1863 to live out the remainder of his days. He set himself up on Finette Island with a little dinghy and a cabin, and he lived there by himself and became known as the Hermit of Lake Tahoe. Now, Captain Barter wasn't entirely antisocial. In fact, he would make regular journeys to Tahoe City. He regularly rode his dinghy the 20 miles to Tahoe City so that he could spend time in the tavern there and drink and socialize. It was during one of these very excursions that he earned his nickname. You see, As he was departing the tavern one night, a storm blew into Lake Tahoe. He was halfway between Tahoe City and his cabin when his dinghy capsized. He would later say that the water itself was actually warmer than the air, and so he stayed in the water and clung to the side of his dinghy as he paddled the 10 miles to his island. When he arrived at the island, he pulled himself up onto the shore, made his way to his cabin, and then spent the next 11 weeks recovering. It was during this time that he realized that his toes had gotten frostbitten. And so, he realized he had only one choice. He knew that no one was coming to save him. He was going to have to help himself. And so, he amputated 2 of his own toes, and then set to work taking care of himself for the next 11 weeks. It was during this time that he actually built a scale model of his ship from England, complete with a 26-member crew. This brush with death seemed to put the fear of mortality into the heart of old Captain Barter. He also began working on a tomb and a chapel there on the island. And it's this tomb that you can see still on the island, its ramparts jutting up from the highest point. It was during these final years when Captain Barter earned his nickname, as he told his story of his storm recovery to any and all who would hear it. And if any of them ever doubted him, he would pull out his jar that he kept his toes in. He would slap them on the table and he would say, "Them's my toes." Sadly, old Captain Barter was never entombed in that tomb. 2 years after he lost his toes, he was caught in another storm in the same place, but this time he didn't fare so well. His dinghy was found, but his body was not. And that was the end of Captain Them's My Toes Barter. Breakfast at Ernie's Coffee Shop. Sounds delightful. Let's check it out.
I don't know if you heard the guys out there or not.
No.
I mentioned they were asking where we were headed, and I said we're going to Yosemite. They were asking what route we were taking, and I mentioned we had to go out to Sacramento because the route down south was closed. They mentioned apparently there's a rock slide. So that's the problem.
Okay.
Which is a shame because that would be just a 3-hour drive.
And really pretty.
And really, really pretty.
Yeah.
Coming in to Yosemite and everything.
But,
well,
are you a fan of diner coffee?
I wouldn't say I'm a fan. But it's coffee I didn't have to make myself.
That's true.
And just like that, breakfast is over and we are off
to Yosemite.
Yeah.
I am so excited for this. This. Apparently, I was supposed to go the other way. Sorry, we're supposed to go the other way, apparently. Or maybe not. Let's see where this thing's taking me. I'm just gonna follow directions. Wow. Look at that snow. We're in Calaveras County, California, which I know well from my childhood and the book, The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County, written by Mark Twain, where, if I recall correctly, the narrator visits a bar in Angels Camp, California, and he's told about this incredible jumping frog. And we're actually coming into Angels Camp as we speak. I wonder if we can find the Angels Hotel in Angels Camp, because that's where Mark Twain supposedly heard this story. Let's go find out. So maybe we can find the Angels Hotel in Angels Camp, California. Is it this one here?
But really, no. Right?
That's it.
That's it. Here we go.
Okay, that's the number, right?
Did I tell you when I did my coastal ride, I encountered a Model T owners group on the Pacific Coast Highway. They were doing a day outing together, and so it was like just a row. There must have been 20 of these Model Ts, and I blasted past all of them because they were going super slow. But it was fun. I stopped to talk to a few of them at one point too. That was fun.
Were they still driving? Oh,
Well,
stop.
not while. Yeah, good point. Good point. That's pretty cute. OMG, this road is amazing.
Well, it's a.